So, good evening, and today we are going to learn something on Power Query. So, on our objective, we are learning what is Power Query in Excel, when should we use it, and we'll also look at something the difference between Power Query and Power Pivot. We'll look at the difference between Power Query and now Power BI. So, after that, we'll look at how does Power Query work and how to get started with Power Query. Then we can now go to the advanced Power Query language. So uh, Power Query is basically an add in Excel. So it allows you to do TL, extract, transform, and load your data, where we import, clean, and consolidate. So in other terms, we can talk about Power Query just as Power BI. These are collection of softwares or tools that works in synchronization to turn unrelated data sources into meaningful and interactive insights. So basically, the power of a query lies in the ability to synchronize and turn unrelated data sources into meaningful and interactive insights. So that is basically what is the main essence of a query. So it enables you process large data. That is the first thing, especially where Excel is limited. So our Excel is limited to around 1 million rows. So if you want to see how Excel is limited, you can just press Control and arrow down. It will take you to the last row where we have about 1 million for 48,567. So those are the total rows that Excel has. So you can navigate by just pressing on Control arrows, and you can go to the corners of this Excel. So the last row, the first one, the row to the top right, right, down left, and top left. So basically, you can see how many rows are there. So basically, that is how I'm doing it. And the next thing is Power Query is very important. It comes handy, especially when importing data from different sources. You can have CSV, you can have Excel, you can have SharePoint, you can have SQL and Salesforce. So basically, you can connect several data sources. So if you come to this point, look at all these sources. You can connect to Microsoft Azure, basically online services. You can connect to websites from databases. So we have several databases as well, starting from IBM, SQL, several databases. Again, you can connect to workbooks, CSV, XLS, JSON, PDF, folders, and SharePoint. They are limited. There is a lot of sources where we can now connect directly to, to Excel and now manipulate them from there. The next thing is it enables you to manipulate, clean, and combine several tables, files, or even folders. If you look at this point, there are even folders. You can even get your work from a folder. It means if you add more files, that folder, it automatically does the task for you. That is the power of Power Query. So we can connect to several sources: Excel, Access, Internet, page, your website, folders. So it enables you to do several data connection. So again, you can level to do cleaning, you can structure data. So that is basically the most important things about Power Query. The next thing that we are talking about, what is the difference between Power Query and Power Pivot? So these are very Power Pivot is often associated with Power Query as it allows Microsoft Office add-in that isn't data analysis. So basically, Power Pivot is used now for data analysis, data cleaning, and taking you back to Excel and adding pivot tables, chart, adding KPIs, and such kind of things. So, however, these tools are typically in tandem. So, as Power Pivot enables uh, users to access, create data models from tables or previously cleaned data from Power Query. So once you clean the data from Power Query, you'll be able to now write DAX language. You'll be able to come up with calculated measures. You'll be able to come up with calculated fields, and many more on Power Pivot. So Power Query enables you to clean. Then now you can do the others on what to summarize your work in Power Pivot. So Power Query allows you to automatically consolidate and process your data files. So standardization, reporting, consolidation of several files. And as I said, the power of Power Query lies in combining different data sources and related data sources. So it allows you to synchronize this information together. Then Power Pivot is basically enables you to analyze databases of several million lines uh, by extracting and aggregating information according to the rules set by the company. I talked about what's the difference between Power Query and Power BI. So the interface of Power BI desktop software allows you to benefit from these three technologies: Power BI, Power Query, Power Pivot, and Power View. So with Power BI, you can do all the three steps of data analysis chain from extracting to creating visuals on interactive dashboards that you share and analyze. So basically, Power BI combines these techniques into one. That is the difference between Power BI. So you can extract data, transform with Power Query, come up with models, then visualize. So basically, that is the process. So basically, somebody might be asking, is Power Query a good alternative for maybe Excel VBA? So there is what you call virtual basic analysis. Is it a good? So yeah, it's almost good because Power Query enables you to process your table simply by clicking buttons. Plus, no coding skills are needed for this class. Again, it enables to visualize operation step by the steps that you take. They will be visualized, and you don't need to run any single macro to have them. So we'll see how to do that. Again, you can easily edit the order of your steps by dragging and dropping. In addition, you can add and delete unnecessary steps with a simple click, so you don't need any coding. So maybe you're asking, is Microsoft Power BI free? Yes, this is a free software, and it's found on Excel 2016 and above. So it's very free. 2016, 2019 up or Office 365. You just need to click a button. So if you want to get per query, maybe let me start from far. You might not be having that button called data. So I might not be having this data on your ribbon. So how do you get this data? So come to file, then options. From options, let's go to customize ribbon. So from customize ribbon, you will find it unchecked. So if it's unchecked, like it's not here, that is how to get it. You come to file, just click on file tab, option, more than options, then go to customize ribbon. From customize ribbon, check data, make sure it's checked, then click OK. So from there, you'll be able to get your Power Query. So basically, if you come to this point, this is how to access Power Query, especially this part. So you can see we have queries and connections. If you have any of them, then they'll be shown here under queries and the queries and connection. Again, you can see get your data from CSV, from web, so you can get your data from a table range. You can look at the recent connections. At this point, you'll be using just get your data from file, where you can use a PDF. You can even get your information from a PDF. So at this point, we'll be working with CSV and text Excel workbooks. So if you come to this, is basically the process. It's very simple. You come to this point where you get your data. So this is the option. This is the option. So the option is down here. Then from there, come to get data. So from here, this is the second step. That is the second step. This one. Then you can now choose a range of whatever you want. Look at what is here. I have several options. You can get your data from any. So basically, that is the process of getting your data from. So when you enter, another thing is when you enter a Power Query mode, when you enter into a Power Query interface, you will no longer be able to access or interact with your Excel. So you'll need to go back to Excel. If you need to go back to Excel, you just need to do what? Close the Power Query editor mode. So maybe you need to know, because I've said this Power Query is only found in Excel 16, 19, and Office 365 and above. So basically, if you want to know where your Microsoft Excel or Office is compatible with or having this Power Query, then come to File, then Account. I think this one we did when we were starting. I showed you when we were starting Excel. So come to Info, and I want us to get to Account. So File, then there's supposed to be Account. Let me see. Yeah, so Account under Options or Account or More. So there's, you'll see, it will tell you whether your Excel is compatible. So if you need updates, if you need to change the theme, if you need to change anything, then you can do it from this point. So basically that is the process of. So maybe you're asking the next step, how do Power Query work? So in Excel, you have access to the following functionality when you get to Power Query. Assuming I come to data, then Power Query, you can see I'll have the following functionality. So this is whatever is here. So at the moment they are not there. Look at this. We'll have the following functionality. So this is the ribbon. Look at the ribbon. So this is the ribbon that we will be using. And look at queries. So these functionalities will be active. Whatever is here. So this will be active, and it will enable you do what? Enable you do the two jobs for data, merging different data sources. So once you do, we will be doing queries and connections. So we'll be doing queries and connections from this point. And these functionalities, you can see that it's here. So basically that is what is here. Yeah. So queries and connection, and you'll be able to see these functionalities active under this other point. It's very, very important. And you can get your data from anywhere. So let's now go to how to use Power Query, and I'll exit that mode. So I want to come to, make sure you know how to add data. So come to data tab. Then from here we want to get from an Excel workbook. So how do I get to Excel workbook? My data is stored under then Power Query retail analysis. So under this point we start with exchange rates. So this is what I'm going to start with. So that is it. And just give it some few seconds. You can see it's connecting to the server. So just give it some few minutes again. So this is now the mode we have been waiting for. So once you're at this point, there are two options. There's this retail Excel and there's this table. So this is a table, you can see, that is it. So basically this is my data, and I want to explain certain things here. So I'll just click transform. So once I click transform, it takes me to this editor mode. Let me maximize so that you can see. So I'll be explaining certain things. So the first thing is whatever appears at the top. So this is the ribbon. So ribbon, let me write it here. The main ribbon. That is the main ribbon. The next thing is whatever appears on the left here. So whatever will be appearing here, this will be what we call queries. Okay. So these are where we are going to see our queries there. Then moving forward, the next part is what you're seeing at the center. So let me use a green color. Whatever you're seeing at the center, this one. So whatever appears on the green part, this is what you call the data table preview. So data table preview. So that is what you call a data table preview. The next thing is The other side on our the one in yellow is what we call this one. This is what we call query settings. So these are query settings. Query settings. So anything to do with query setting. So the main ribbon, let me explain the functionality of these ribbons. So let me use red. Yeah, so text and reduce. So the main function of this upper ribbon, this one is to create queries from scratch. So this button allows you to create queries from the scratch. So these ones, they will allow you, these are the main things that will allow you to enable you to access the advanced editor. Okay, so this is where we are going to access advanced editor mode. uh, Access advanced editor uh, that allows you to create, to modify, to manually change things. Okay, the next thing is the queries. So queries, it keeps track of all connections. This point, this one keeps track of all connections. Keep track of all connections. So if you have several connections, this is what will appear. That is actually, this is an interface that you guys ought to have interacted with, especially if you have done access. The next one is whatever appears here. So this is the data table preview, which visualizes your data result after a specific step. So it enables you to, this one enables you to visualize your data result, visualize your data results after a specific step has been taken. Specific uh, specific steps. Okay, so this is where you will see the change. Then finally is the query setting that allows you to navigate through all steps. So this one allows you on the let me use a blue color. So this one allows you to navigate all the steps you made. So allows you to navigate all steps taken. So this is where we will see steps whenever you take them. Steps taken. So if you take any steps, this is where you'll see them. So basically, that is uh, the interface of Power Query. So maybe how do we get started with Power Query? So imagine the following situation: you are the financial control of a technology firm selling computers and smartphones. You currently operate in 3 countries: France, UK, and China. So each month you place a consolidated report for your manager with KPIs. Or KPIs are basically key performance indicators, such as total revenue, revenue by country, or revenue by product. Yeah, so to do so, each country manager, we have country managers, Dennis, Douglas, and Karen, sends you a file. So you're the person who prepares this report. So the problem is here, each file lists the cells in the country's own denomination. So it's too time consuming to convert them into euros and then consolidate into the final report. So basically, that is the task that you have. You have 3 people: Douglas, Dennis. Dennis is in France, Douglas in UK, and Karen in what? Karen is in uh, China. So you need to do a consolidated report for all these people. So let me, there's the rest here. I will share with you these ones. So this is the case report where you are the financial controller and you have these 3 people. And you can see this is euro, US dollar, yeah, the US, the France, then the euros, and then you have the uh, China's Chinese currency. So per query will enable you to actually combine these 3 files and be able to write a consolidated report. So to get started, how do you get the data into a query? So let me close this one. I want to just do it from scratch. So to get your data into this point, come to File, then Workbook. Then the one that I'm starting with is Exchange Rate. So the exchange rate is what I'm starting with. So File, from, then Workbook. Again, you can always copy the path. You save the file. I'll share with you this file. I'm sure you guys have it. So this is basically it. So there are three options here. So there are three options. Number one is what you're seeing at this point. Is what you're seeing at this point. Sorry. So what you're seeing at this point. So this is basically the data tables found by the query. So it will find data tables. So data table found by the Power Query. Okay. Then this is the data preview. So whatever appears at the center, this is what you call the data preview. So this is the data preview. Data preview. So basically that is it. So there are options here down here. We have several options. So the first one is to load and transform. If you look at this arrow, it gives you two more options. The next one is transform, where we can transform this data by data transformation. Is basically where we're going to take some few steps to make this data better and clean. So Power Query enables you to flatten the data in that it is not restricted to the a million rows that we have in Excel. Okay, so we are going to apply some steps along the query pane that I showed you. These steps will appear at the query setting. So we are going to do those ones where the first thing we'll do will be removing something. So let's load the data, transform and load. So I can click here where we can load to transform. Then there's this option transform. So I'll go with the transform. So once you click transform, the data will appear here. So the first step is I want to remove these top three rows. So I'm going to remove first three top rows. So you can see we have these functionalities here, and we have the query setting on the other side, and we have the queries at this point. So removing the top rows. So how many? So just come to under home tab. How many rows do I want to remove? I want to remove 3. So I'll click OK. You can now see I have them well. That is the first thing. So just come to rows, then remove top rows. So you'll instantly see the transformation of the data where again, the step is recorded here. The top rows have been removed. So we want to get rid of again blank where we have null. So to get rid of the blank rows, come to remove. Then from remove, go to blank rows. So you can see we have blank rows again at this point. So you can now see the data has now transformed a little bit better. The next thing is we want to promote these first. You can see we are having this row here where we have the exchange rate, euro, GP, BRL, CNY, and MAD. So basically, you want to promote that to be the top row. So how do you do that? So you'll notice that Power Query automatically update the steps here. Again, that is very important. So from Home tab, we are going to. I want you to look at it very keenly. So we want to promote. So I want us to promote the first two rows, so that they become our remove, keep, split. So basically that is supposed to be here. Use our first row as header. So this is basically what you click on, and now it is updated. Look at the steps are here. So these are like the macro you guys did in Excel. So that is basically it. Again, removing blank spaces, you can just, if you don't want to remove the blanks, you can uncheck it from this point. So if you click that, you can see, do you want to delete the steps? And now you can see the data still, it goes back to the normal one. So you can always do that if you want to. So how do I go? How do how do I do it again? Just come to remove blank rows and click remove blank rows where it's here. So basically that is it. Again, you can choose the columns you want. So if you come to this column, then you can, for example, choose the columns. So let's click for columns. So we have columns. So there's a point where we can choose only the columns you want. So click on the columns, then remove other columns. Sorry, that removes everything. So I need just to check it from this point, and I'm going to so remove duplicates. We want to remove, I want us to remove specific columns where we're going to have only things that we need. So I want to drag it this point. So you remember these columns. You can see these columns, column number 7. You can just click remove this column. So I can click remove again, click remove this column, number 9, sorry, because I don't need those columns that are having null. So whatever was removed when you are removing null was the rows at that point. So remove this column again. Basically, sorry, I have removed other. So I'm supposed to remove this column number 10. So column number 7, 8, 9, and 10 have been removed. So remove that. So basically, look at that now. I have a data set that is very, very clean. So there is something called unpivoting the columns. So for example, exchange rate. So this is date. So this date would be better if unpivot is basically the same thing we were talking about, is a transpose in Excel, where we are converting rows to columns and columns to rows. So that is basically what we call unpivoting columns at this point. So to unpivot column, from home tab, there is a, I want us to look at unpivot. So columns called transformation. Yeah, so if you come to transformation, there is unpivot column. So you can now see that is basically how it does it. So unpivot columns, it's very, very important. It converts this one into, you can see this exchange rate into now the columns into rows. So basically, if you come to this point again, it's at this point. So we are going to do unpivot other columns, and our data now looks this way. Again, another thing you can do, you can click to edit. You can click to edit, where we are going to edit this one to be what? Rate. This is date. Just double click and now edit. You can be able to edit. This is date. Yeah, that is basically how to change that. Then this is currency. Again, this is currency. Just double click to edit. And finally, this is basically the exchange rate. This is the rate. You can call it exchange rate. So basically, that is how Power Query works. That is how Power Query works. And look at that. It is as simple as that. Now your work, this data is more, it's better than whatever we were having initially. Whatever, it enables you to transform your data. Then the last part is just click load and transform. So transform, close and load, close and load. So basically, let's go and close and load. So once you do so, look at it. So basically, we have it. Another thing you need to be so sure that once doing this one does not affect your original Excel file. Actually, it maintains your original Excel. So this is a data model. So assuming you want to see the exchange rate for this one different in 2018, then it's very simple. Just come to what? Insert. Then now, instead of going to, sorry, let me cancel. Instead of going to, yeah, just come to format table, then